So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining us. Can't believe it's already streaming in the spring. I know these next couple of months we're always crazy busy for the team, for you guys. So thanks for giving us a little bit of time here and joining us for the March district leader meeting. Before we get started, I do want to remind everybody, if you log into your PowerSchool Sys server, go under the help menu and go to meta documentation. Hopefully in the top right hand corner, if you'll do a search for March 2025, should be all the documents that we'll cover today. So PowerPoint presentations, you'll also see the district leader agenda. Just a quick reminder, that's how you access that info. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Great. Before we start, also,
I can do my stuff on here.
Yeah.
Sweet, yeah,
That works.
that's fine.
Thank you for keeping you. Before we get started, I want to recognize a couple of new districts that we've just added, or we're in the process of adding. We've had kind of a long-going relationship with both of these districts, but we're super happy, super excited to be onboarding both of them as full Meta member districts, and that's Johnstown and Granville exempted. Super happy to have you. So again, on our side of things, I don't think much changes, but want to at least recognize. So appreciate you guys being part of the team now. All right. In case you missed it, just real quick, a couple of agenda items I want to cover. Again, the cybersecurity incident updates, I don't really have much new there. I mean, again, we're not in the driver's seat on this. We're really just kind of redistributing the information that comes out from PowerSchool, but there were a couple of important updates that came out this week, so we want to make sure you're aware of that. I will talk to you just briefly about a couple of changes. We touched on these back in January, right after the cybersecurity incident. So a couple of process changes, if you will, that we've made internal that could or probably will affect you as we go forward. Meta training update. I think some exciting updates there, and I'll just talk briefly about those. Give you a quick update on the My Power Hub, kind of where we're at with it, and then we'll talk about the end of year timelines and some next steps in regard to EOY. So cybersecurity incident updates, again, we're not really in the driver's seat on this. So as I think hopefully we made clear back in January, and we've made clear since, most of what we're doing is taking information as we receive it from PowerSchool and redistributing that out to all of you. Certainly, if at any point in this process, and this will be an ongoing process, we now realize this is not something that's going to end anytime soon, I don't believe, but if you ever have questions, concerns, anything like that, please don't hesitate to bring those up with either myself or any of the leadership team within Meta. We're happy to provide insight and thoughts that we may have on it. So quickly, if you didn't see the PowerSchool email that went out earlier in the week and that we shared also, the final CrowdStrike incident report is now available. Again, I perused through it. I didn't see anything that seemed to be too earth-shattering. Nothing that seemed to be any different than what we had kind of already heard or were hearing. So, but take that for what it's worth. The Experian credit monitoring service, this was a change. They've recently extended the deadline for the sign-up of the credit monitoring service through July 31st of 2025. Make sure you saw that. And then again, as I've already said, we'll continue any information we receive directly from PowerSchool that we feel is important. We'll make sure we're communicating that to both our district leaders list as well as to our Meta communications list, so that it really goes out and it should be touching everybody within the org. Yeah. All right, some updates that we've made. We talked about this back in January. There is a disable remote support. It's not something that, I'll be honest, we weren't even aware that it was something that existed within the system. It's not something that PowerSchool support promoted or pushed. It wasn't something that we were using. There have been some changes to that remote support and how it functions. I think previous to the latest release, or one of the latest releases, that remote support didn't necessarily have an end date on it. So when you go in and you enable that remote support, meaning you're allowing PowerSchool support to connect to the server and review issues. Again, whether that's something we do on our end because of the PowerSchool sys support contract that we have, or that's something that you're asked to do on your end because of add-on applications that you may have in your own, and other areas of PowerSchool support has to connect. You just want to be aware of that. They've added an end date, so there's a start date on the remote support and an end date that you can set. I think internally what we're doing is we're using either a 3 or 4 day window, and then if it goes beyond that, we're going to extend that. So whatever that end date that you use, once you hit that end date, it automatically disables that remote support. So they've tightened that feature setup a little bit, which I think is a good thing. Social Security number removals, starting back in February 1st, it was a Saturday. We started running a nightly routine that removes the Social Security numbers, and we've continued to do that. So that looks at the teachers table, it looks at the students table, and it removes all SSNs, regardless if that teacher or if that student is active or inactive. If there's a Social Security number there, it removes it. Something we unfortunately probably should have been doing a long time ago, just kind of went unrecognized. One of the other, I know a few of you have probably already seen this. We now have a meta consent to transfer form. And what this is we frequently will move data off of your production server over to one of our non-production servers. I think we have 30 or 35 non-production servers that we use for a whole host of different reasons. We are now, if we move data over to one of those non-production servers and we're not scrambling that data, so all PII data that would normally be scrambled on those environments, if we're not for some reason because of troubleshooting or we need to export data off of that, out of that data set, before we do that process, we will ask you to sign a meta consent to transfer form. Okay. The signature list, and it can be any of these, it's either a district leader, it's an IT director, or it's a superintendent, or somebody of that caliber. So we're looking for sign-offs on those, and if that comes up and that need arises, we'll simply send you a link to the form through the help desk system or through the Salesforce system, and you'll be able to fill it out and ship it back to us through the help desk system so that we have it recorded. Okay. Another thing we've identified, we were not and have not maintained within the PowerSchool community, there are what they term technical contacts. We have now, I think both Christine Cartwright and myself are now listed as technical contacts on every single one of our district's accounts. And so as district leader changes come in that we're made aware of, we'll make those technical contact changes within that PowerSchool community feature as well. So just be aware of that. If you've received a request from PowerSchool or from us to add us, I think we're done with that. I think we have everybody, I think we now have access to all of the district's technical contact list through PowerSchool community, but that's why we did it. And part of this was because PowerSchool is using that technical contact list for communication purposes. So we want to make sure that that technical contact list is actually being maintained and kept up to date. All right. Any questions? And you get a freebie here. Not something that we've been talking about this for, geez, I'd have to go back and look, but we've probably been doing trainings for the past year. We are strongly encouraging districts. I think, as I said back in January, we're not setting a hard date as to when we want districts to deploy this, but if I'm being honest, I think it's going to come to that at some point. just to better secure the environments out there. So PowerSchool has what they call OIDC authentication. You can deploy single sign-on through that. You have the ability to deploy that for all three or any of these three groups, but we're strongly encouraging districts to do this for the staff admin accounts, the teacher accounts, and the student accounts. It's especially now with the OIDC or the global ID sync process that Zach Chapman developed back in the fall. This process is considerably easier than it's been in the past. So the deployment of it is pretty straightforward. But if you've not attended, I encourage you to attend one of the upcoming trainings. And to be honest, we'll continue to do these into next year. I mean, I think until we get to a point where everybody who wants to deploy, or until we make a decision that you have to deploy OIDC authentication, we'll continue to offer these on a monthly basis. Okay. Any questions? I'm tired of hearing you talk about it.
Hey, Eric, this is Vern.
Yeah.
Just a quick question for the OIDC stuff. I know PowerSchool now supports multiple OIDC connections based on user type, which is super helpful. I've also been working with Todd Wolf around Mini Orange, and he said he was working with you guys on trying to come up with like steps or something we can use to use Mini Orange to authenticate for PowerSchool. Is that something that's still being worked on, or should I put in a ticket? What's the best?
You can put in a ticket with systems. I mean, Todd and I have talked about it a little bit. I personally don't see the relationship or the connection between the two, but him and I talked about it probably within the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I think he kind of came to the same conclusion. So again, if you have questions on that, that's more Todd's team or the systems team. We can see what, if he has questions, he can reach back out to me.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You can, that was a change, I think, back in the fall. So when you're looking at the user groups that you want to have single sign-on through OIDC, even if you wanted to say, hey, I want to deploy the single sign-on for my staff or admin accounts through OIDC, you can do that through Microsoft. And maybe you decide then that you want to do the same thing for teacher and student accounts, but you want to do that via Google. You absolutely have that capability now. So quite a bit of flexibility that PowerSchool's put into that. So, all right. Training updates. So, man, we have spent a lot of time as a team talking about this and kind of going through and reviewing what we currently do and how to possibly improve on our current model. One of the things that's became apparent to us over the course of the last year plus, is it sure seems like any training events that we have that are definitely multiple day are a problem. It's difficult to get folks, especially the timing of that. If it's at the beginning of the school year, the staff that we're targeting for those multi-day trainings are just typically not available. They have other things and more important going on, and I get it. So the signups have been down. So in an effort to see if we can affect that a little bit and bring more people back into those trainings, because they are important. Beginning this spring and certainly next year, we're going to offer up more of a condensed format on our training. So if a typical training in the past may have run a whole day or even 2 days, we've taken a look at the content of that training or the curriculum of that training, and we're breaking that up as much as we possibly can. We're trying to get these trainings down to typical 1-hour formats. So if, say, like what was termed a counselor training in the past, if that was composed of, or that'll be broken up into 3 1-hour trainings now, and there are any prerequisites within those trainings, we'll clearly state that in the offerings that'll go out there. But as far as what you'll see on the training calendar and on the events page, I don't think you'll necessarily know that we've kind of used or thrown around the term Power Hour, but I don't think we're going to really stick to that within what we offer and what we list out there on the events page. So just be aware, we're going to do as much condensing on these trainings as we can. The content will be the same. It just may take you, to come back and revisit or attend multiple sessions instead of getting all that information in a 1 day or 2 day or even a 3 hour format. We're trying to get these things down to a single hour format. So there's about 45 minutes of training content and 15 minutes or whatever for Q&A. Some of those will definitely run a little long. We've had some conversations on our internal too, where we kind of chuckle, we're like, yeah, it's a 1 hour-ish type format. So we'll do the best we can. The hope there is obviously we break those out. We have smaller chunks that'll give you guys the a little more flexibility in attending those trainings. The other thing that'll do is if you can attend a training and you're going out and you're looking for that content on the YouTube channel, it makes that YouTube content much more digestible. So instead of sitting there trying to thumb through a 3 or 4 or 5 hour training video, we'll have it broken down into, like I said, probably a 45-minute to an hour. Okay. The other thing we're trying to do is there are certainly areas of content that we can cover in the spring rather than covering those at the start of the school year, because at the start of the school year is so busy. So here are some examples. PowerSchool, Power Teacher Pro gradebook setup on the admin side, security training, grades certainly is one of those things we can talk about in the spring, where we break it up so that you guys, if you're planning to make changes, you can attend the training in the March, April, May timeframe, and then make those changes after school is let out, or even after we run end of year. So you'll have that information kind of in your back pocket for the summer. And then obviously, as I'll talk a little bit more too, parent and student portal setup, or what is going to become my Power Hub. There will be some trainings coming up in the spring for that as well. Any questions on training updates? My Power Hub. This is not moving at quite as rapid of a pace as we had hoped, but I think part of that was due to the cybersecurity incident. There's just been a lot of distractions, I think, caused by that, unfortunately. I'm now using the term, this will be a likely replacement of the parent student portal hub, student portal. Part of this is I don't know what I don't know. The anticipated timelines for this, though, from now through the end of the school year, we're looking for up to 10 districts to volunteer as early adopters. I know I have one already in kind of our back pocket, and we're going to actually run through this process with them, I believe, next Thursday. And so the first couple of these early adopters, we will work with PowerSchool kind of hand in glove. We'll let them take the lead. We'll shadow them through the process. That should give us some opportunity to get any internal materials, training, things like that in alignment that we need to align better with kind of what our expectations are. We'll be able to get that stuff set up before the end of the school year, or as we approach the end of the school year, and then we'll kind of hit the ground running a little bit more in the fall next year. My overarching goal would be, though, that we get all nearly 80 of you moved over to my Power Hub by the end of next school year. Okay. So next steps, if you want to be an early adopter and you're interested in that, please send an email message into powerschoolhelp@metasolutions.net and just indicate that you're interested in that, and I'll start putting together a schedule. And we'll have a similar process starting next year. I realize, once you start the school year, you're probably not going to want to make that full cut over to my Power Hub. One of the things that they've demoed for us is you do have the ability to not take away the existing parent-student portal interface initially. So when the parent or the student logs in, they're going to see the same interface they've seen in the past. But then we can embed or drop in a My Power Hub link within the navigation menu, so that they can kind of have the best of both worlds for a period of time. That will go away, absolutely. Our whole goal is to get everybody over onto the same parent-student portal for obvious reasons. Okay. Questions? Good. All right, end of year. Last year, I think we ran end of year. We did kind of sort of 3 weeks. The first week was always a really light week for us, so we've eliminated that from this year's schedule. We are starting end of years on that Friday before, so whatever that is, the 13th, I believe. The 13th would be the last day that districts can can use Power Scheduler. And we will start running end of year processes starting on that Monday, the 16th. We don't have a lot of flexibility to move districts around within that schedule. So kind of like I've asked in the past, I'm going to ask you to try to work with the schedule the best you can. I know there's always exceptions to that, so we can bend and move if we need to. We're doing 3 days of processing that first week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then that second week, the 23rd to the 27th, it'll be a little bit more of a full week. We are avoiding Fridays like we've done in the past. That's always been kind of our catch-up day. So we're going to continue to adhere to that as well. So this year we're looking at 78 districts, 7 days. So we're running, that first week is a lighter week for us. And then it just gives us a chance as an internal team to kind of work into that process a little bit. This is only something we run once a year. So that second week though, we're pretty much pegged every day at like 15 districts. So we'll do the same sort of thing we've done in the past. Our next steps for us will be by early April, we'll get cases created for each of you. In that case, we'll provide links to the end of year checklist. We'll provide you your actual end of year date that you're currently scheduled. Any questions, any needs that you have, we'll ask you to communicate those back through those cases. Because we divide and conquer on this process because it's something we have to do for everybody. So everybody on the team's involved, and we'll split this up, and each of us will have a handful of districts that we're going to run end of year process for. End of year training dates. These are not on the events calendar yet, but just as of yesterday, thank you, Sally, and whoever else worked on pulling the dates together. These are the intended dates that we have moving into starting in May. And so looks like every week in May we'll have a end of year training. The May 8th date that happens to, I believe it's the May 8th date. Yeah, it happens to align with our next district leader meeting, which is in person. At least that's the current intent. It'll be in person. It'll be down at the Columbus ESC office, which is right across from the Meta Columbus offices. So that'll be that'll be morning. It'll be the DL meeting. Afternoon will be the end of year training. Okay. Last but not least, I just want to recognize all of you and the fact that St. Patrick's Day is coming up. So yeah, I just wanted to remind you we're always trying to do things to improve our service, trying to do things to make your lives a little bit easier. So, if you guys, as you have ideas, you have suggestions, we're always open, and please bring those to our attention. All right, that's all I had. I believe Christine is up.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
Okay, can you hear me and can you see my screen okay?
That's for me.
Yeah, okay. All right, so today I'm going to go over the What's New release notes from 25.1 and 25.2. There's not a lot to cover today, but as a reminder, this PowerPoint is available in our meta documentation that can be easily accessed through your PowerSchool SIS, as Eric showed you guys earlier. Excuse me. Before we move to the new features and enhancements, I wanted to remind everyone about the Meta monthly reminder document that we spoke about at the last DL meeting. This is a valuable resource and is a live document that our team works really hard to keep current and relevant. If you haven't already done so, we do encourage you to check it out. I have linked the document here for easy access, or again, you can go through our meta documentation through your SIS at the question mark, and you can search for it there. Again, we welcome suggestions that you have. This is, a new document that we're leaning on this year. So if you see ways that this can be improved or enhanced, or something added to it, or something unnecessary that's on it, please go ahead and submit a ticket and let us have that information so that we can continue to make this document even better. So 25.1 to 25.2 is considered a minor feature release, maintenance release. Because this update includes important library and configuration updates, it is recommended for all customers. One important update to point out is that the links for PowerSchool's What's New and the data dictionaries are no longer linked under help in your SIS. So you can no longer get to those as you could in the past by clicking on that question mark. The info is now housed in PowerSchool Community, or I have linked here for you, so that you can go ahead and go into the sites and through Community and subscribe to both the release notes and the data dictionaries. We did review excuse me, all of your districts that we had access to, as Eric was talking about earlier, and we updated your technical contacts so that they do include all your current district leaders. We want you to let you know that we did not remove any other staff from your districts that were listed as technical contacts. And if we did not have access, we did send a request to PowerSchool. So I think you would have gotten an email from PowerSchool asking for permission to add both Eric and I as technical contacts. So if you haven't already done so, to give us approval for that, please do. But as Eric said, I think we're just missing 2 districts at this time. So we're in good shape there. Okay, so the big change, and Eric pointed this out earlier, is to the remote access. So it's a big security change. The always on option has been removed. And now if you are needing remote assistance from PowerSchool, you will want to temporarily enable their access to your system. The default setting is 5 days, but Meta does recommend that, once your session has ended, you quickly disable this feature, or initially set the timing to, I think Eric said 3 or 4 days, but I mean, if you know they're going to be working on it the next day and it's going to be done, just use your best, decision there and set it for the shortest amount possible so that it disables and nobody has access to your system. A couple other new features. I'm not going to read through these, but again, these are all, in the PowerPoint and through the release notes. Some smaller enhancements, security, a library update, and some memory usage. So you can go in and read a little bit more about those. 25.1 also offers just a few resolved issues. Not everyone may have experienced these issues, but all of the key fixes can now be accessed in the 25.1 release notes. I've also, again, linked the release notes here, so you can go ahead and just click on that. It's going to take you right to the release notes, and you can read in a little more detail on each of the key fixes. If you have a specific release note topic that you don't understand or need more information on, as always, please put a ticket in, and we can help you research that information. So 25.2, there was only one enhancement in 25.2 that I wanted to give mention to. The security of the V1 APIs has been enhanced, adding read or full access capabilities to the APIs. So starting with 25.2, plugins that request OAuth access will have V1 API access disabled by default. This is more something that your technical staff or staff that handles your plugin management will want to know. So I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but if that person in your district that handles plugins, or as that person, you should review the release notes linked here for additional information. I also included down here the Insider Index video that Jason Springle did on this, where he runs through each of these bullet points in more detail. If you go to that video, it's at minutes 18:28, and it was super helpful to get in there and get that information. So if that is something you're responsible for, I highly recommend, again, reading the release notes and checking out Jason's video.
Christine, I just want to point out real quick, because
Yeah.
to me, one of the more important points in this is your third bullet item. So if you already have plugins installed and they're utilizing the OAuth access, it will not require you to go in and alter that OAuth setting. Now, if for some reason you uninstalled that plugin and reinstall it, then that's something you'll have to be aware of. And on that installation, it'll ask you, or there'll be a pull down there where you can set that OAuth access to whatever you want. So just so you're aware of that. And then, of course, any new plugin that you're installing from this point going forward, hopefully the vendors will have built that into part of their installation instructions on those plugins as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Quick mention. Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. 25.2 again offers some additional resolved issues. As always, you can access those and read a little bit more about them. I don't want to just read these to you, but the comment bank page is now, and I can't say this word, paginated. So you can view up to 100 comments in a page. That was kind of one that people seem to be interested in. But as always, these don't apply to everybody. So you might not have seen these issues, but you can certainly review them as needed. Lastly, I wanted to mention again, is that you as district leaders, we at Meta rely on you to share today's information with your staff. We encourage you to guide your staff to the Meta documentation pages, to review the DL meeting info, and the PowerPoints presented today, as well as to the PowerSchool What's New and Hot Topics pages, all of which I have linked here. So if you click on any one of these titles, it's going to take you to that page. There's a lot of information in there. And so your staff can certainly benefit from all this as well. As always, please reach out to us if you have any questions. And it's getting warmer. Thank you. Happy spring. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Christine? Awesome. All right, we're going to keep rolling through. I think customization catalog is up next. So Sarah and/or Sally.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We are going to talk about what's new in the Meta Customizations catalog. Let me move this for March 2025. And first off, we want to talk about the Meta installer. So we've updated the browser tab with the Meta installer. So the tab now is going to display the number of plugins that are being updated. So you can see in this top screenshot, it's showing 1 of 3 plugins being updated. As it works through that process, it'll update that tab. So it would go to 2 out of 3, the post-test setup, on and on until it's complete. Once the installer is finished updating, it's going to display, as you can see in the bottom screenshot, up to date. This is helpful when you have multiple tabs open. You can see here we have multiple tabs open. So your installer can run updating those plugins. You can be in your other tab doing the work that you need to do, and you can quickly see what status the installer is on without having to navigate back. There is an important note with this that we want to mention. While you're running the installer, the tab does need to stay open. It has to be open in order to process. But again, you can toggle back and forth between multiple tabs to continue working while it is processing. We also have some catalog updates. We have added a space in between changelog. Previously, changelog was listed in the navigation path as one word, changelog, which was not helpful if you were searching for it using quick search. So we've added that space. So now that when you're using quick search and you type in changelog, you'll be able to access it quickly and find it correctly. We also have the categories by default now listed out here on the right-hand side, and we've renamed List All to Catalog. So it has been renamed to Catalog, but it is still functioning the same. It is a List All page. When you navigate to this page, it will say Catalog List. Again, the functionality, you can search for customizations, you can filter by categories, you can resort the columns by clicking on the column headers. However, you normally use this page, but the page itself is now called Catalog List.
Sally, there was a question.
Yes.
Should we run the updates when there is not very many users signed into PowerSchool?
You can run the updates as needed. There isn't, I don't believe, a specific time that is required that you run it. So you can have users in while you're running the installer. That is fine. Again, you can still, as you are running it, you can still do your work. It is going to run in the background updating things. If you are on a page that has an update that is being updated in one of those plugins, when you navigate back to your page after it's been updated, you may need to refresh your page to see that change take place, but that it's not impacted by the number of users logged in. Good question. All right, Mass Consolidate contacts. We did have a bug with Mass Consolidate when users were clicking on download preview. The download preview, it was downloading a blank file. So we have corrected this issue and the file downloads now as expected. You will see when you download a preview, it is going to show the contacts that you have selected to consolidate. You haven't consolidated them yet. It's just the preview. But again, if you've checkmarked them, it's going to show in that file that you download. If you don't have any contacts selected when you download a preview, it's going to show you no contacts have been selected. So if you want to see a preview, you do need to make a selection of contacts to be consolidated. This will same work with download results. Download results will also show you in the file the contacts that you have successfully consolidated. Okay, all office visits. This is a newer customization that we released, talked about at the last district leader meeting. There was a little bug, the checker function. It was expecting to have at least a single health record in order to be visible before displaying the additional office visits found message. So we have corrected that bug fix. Again, this is a newer customization, so if you don't have it enabled yet, you can navigate to the catalog to enable it. It will show you when you're on a student's office visits page, it'll show you again your current office visits listed, and then it indicates here with the number how many additional office visits have been found in prior years. Emergency medical page. So there is an update, and this is with the nurse notes field. The current nurse notes field on the emergency medical page, it holds a 4,000 character limit. We are able to increase the character limit of this field. If you would like to have this extended character amount for your nurses to record information, you can submit a ticket to us and we will update that field for you. Again, this is just a text field for notes. There are the specific health management pages that your nurses may be using. And this again is just to record any notes. It's just a text field.
Sally, can I hop in there too and say,
yes, please.
So the things you put on the emergency and medical contacts can be seen by several people, where your health stuff can be seen usually by your nurse or it's more specific. So this is not the place you want to put extra sensitive data. This is where you want to put a general note that the nurse wants somebody to know, which is why we haven't just increased it to a gazillion characters for everybody.
Perfect. All right, the student field value enhancement. This is with an Ohio field only. There was a bug within a state Ohio field, the FN next school. When you were selecting the next school and submitting that, and you would see the IRN number, the bug was that it was not saving the IRN number. So we have corrected that bug, and now you can see that the IRN number is correctly saving. Again, that's for the Ohio State field, the FN next school, when you're using student field value. Report card. We love to talk about the report card. We always have things to say. With the report card, we have some bug fixes that we've addressed within the past month, and we also have some enhancements that we're going to talk about. Talking about the bug fixes first, the additional teacher type, the co-teachers, they are now correctly displaying in the standards container. Previously, those co-teachers were not displaying for standards. So they are now, if you have selected in your report card settings for them to be displayed. Additionally, we had some bugs with some standards that were not displaying according to your settings, standards without scores or extra standards. There were some child standards that did not have a parent standard that were being displayed incorrectly or duplicated. All of those bugs have been addressed. They have been corrected. So again, now your standards are displaying according to your settings, how you would like them to be displayed. With the courses, we had some bug fixes, courses that were withdrawn and then retaken. So if a student was dropped from a class and then maybe they withdrew and then they came back a month later, they were enrolled in the same courses, those courses were being displayed twice. So now that issue has been corrected. Additionally, withdrawn student courses, they are now being displayed in the courses container at the bottom. Again, if you have your report card settings to show withdrawn courses, that is where they will be displayed. If you don't want to see them, you make your selection to do not display. With the report card, we also had a bug with the messages. In the messages container, if you were using heading 1, it was not printing. It was visible in the portal, in the admin portal. You could see that heading when you or any other user went to print a report card. It was not printing. So that issue has also been corrected. We just want to talk a little bit about edit mode. We've made some enhancements to edit mode when you are on student report cards in the admin portal. You'll notice right here in the upper right-hand corner of the report card, there is a little pencil icon. This is what we call edit mode. This is what we use a lot when we are working with you in your report cards, troubleshooting some issues. When you click on this edit pencil here, it opens edit mode and you can see all of the data that is being pulled for your report cards. there's a lot of information when you click edit mode. You can see the items that are grayed out are the items that are not currently being displayed on your report cards. As you click on items, you'll see a pop-up up here with additional information on that item. You can see one of the enhancements we've made is we've added some links over here, some go-to icons for specific areas that affect the report card courses. If we wanted to exclude a specific course from a report card, we could click on that link to do so. We also could click on edit on these settings, which will open a slide out drawer on our right-hand side where we can, again, change the report card settings right here from edit mode. Most of you probably will not be utilizing edit mode, but we did want to just show you what it is, talk about it, let you know how we use it. So if you see that icon, you could take a look. We have an enhancement with the report card. We've added an option to hide additional teachers. So we talked about the co-teachers. They were not being displayed on the report card. Now they are if you want them to. So this is where the setting can be made to select show or do not display for your additional teachers in the standards. Additionally, we've added a course section number display in the courses container. So again, through your report card settings, you can select this to be shown if you would like to see that course number, course and section number. We have also added a user's role link to the report card settings. That user roles link will be seen in the student info container, the standards container, and the top courses container. So the link, when you click on it, it'll open in a new tab to the user roles page where users can edit co-teaching roles as needed. Again, if you want to show those co-teachers on your report cards. And you may have noticed those go-to icons. Those are new. That is another enhancement we've made. Previously, these links were bolded, letting you know that it will open in a new tab. We've added the icon just as an additional reminder. When you see that, you'll know when you click on it, it will take you to, in this case, terms. If I clicked on it, it'll take me to final grade setup where I can make any necessary changes that are applicable to the report card. And with the report card, when we have bug fixes and when we have updates and enhancements, the settings, they are now going to be legacy settings. So what we've done, and you can see when you navigate to your report card settings, you may notice a new section now here called Legacy Settings Found. And there's yellow highlighting, and that's indicating that specific setting, and it is now identified as a legacy setting. So again, this happens when we roll out updates to the report card. When we make those changes and enhancements, the previous setting that you were using, it's now a legacy setting. So you can click on the setting, it will open the slide out drawer, and you can now select the option in the dropdown. It will show you what you previously had selected. So you can select that again, or you can change it as needed. All right, honor roll update. So this is a customization we talked about at our last district leader meeting. We have changed the name. It was previously known as honor roll delete, and we have renamed it to honor roll update. This is more indicative of what it's doing. It's updating those records. So again, this customization, it eliminates the need for manually deleting existing honor roll records using DDA. So it's automatically going to identify those records and update them with the honor roll method and store code that you're selecting. Again, it's called honor roll update, and you'll notice there is a blue PowerSchool note here. It's going to show you the existing records found, and the button, instead of delete and submit, it's update and submit. Again, more indicative of what it's doing. And once you click that, your dialog box is now going to let you know it's identifying those records, the percentage of how many that it's working through to do that update.
Sally, a question back
Yeah.
to the report card.
Yes.
Is there anything in the works to display days attendance, present days? Is there a task that we're working on?
For days attendance?
Yeah, days attendance, present days.
So
Present
not
days.
the days absent, the number of days present.
Yes, sorry.
I can check our list to see if we have that on the list. I know we have talked about attendance on the report cards. There have been a few requests in displaying attendance information differently, but we can make a note of that to follow up on that attendance days present.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe we have anything currently in the works for that. So that would not be anything for this school year that we would be rolling out. Does that sound correct, Sarah?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. But we will double check on that task and follow up. Okay, school year identification. So this customization, it is built into the catalog. What we have done is we have created a separate plugin by the same name, School Year Identification, and it is available in the Meta installer. So again, this customization, it shows you when you're in a future year or when you are in a prior school year, that notification banner easily seen by you and your users to let you know when you are working in a year other than the current year. You'll see it available now in the installer. So if you have this customization enabled, it is still enabled. You are using it probably now. Maybe your schedulers are using it as they're working in the 25-26 year. It is still working as expected. But what you are using now that we have added the plugin to the installer page, you are using the legacy school year identification customization. This customization, it will be removed from the catalog in November 2025. So next school year, but this November 2025, that customization, it will be removed from the catalog. So those of you who have this customization enabled, you will want to navigate to the Meta installer. You'll want to click the blue add button. When you click the blue add button, it is going to move school year identification from your available plugins list to your active plugins list. Once it moves over, you will see your action bar here will say apply one change. You'll click on apply one change and it will install that school year identification plugin. Once the plugin is installed, you can navigate back to the catalog and disable the customization. So again, if you have this customization, if you're using it, it's the school year identification customization. If you're using it, you're still using it, but before November, you'll need to make a note that you update the plugin because the customization will be removed from the catalog. And we will keep reminding you of this change. There is, again, the directions I just mentioned about going to the installer, clicking add. The directions will be on this PowerPoint in our documentation that you can access for reference when you're ready to make that change. Okay, archive student. We have added a student status field when you are archiving a student. If you are using archive student within your district, you know that you can select some default preferences on the archive student settings page. This is where you can make, again, those default selections when you're archiving, usually, a duplicate student. There are all of these options are pretty much the same for the students that you're archiving. So when you enter that information, student status is now one of those selections, so that when you archive a student, you will see that student status. Alert Builder. We've made some enhancements to the Alert Builder. over the last month. And these enhancements, they help reduce errors. They provide accuracy when building alerts. They're speeding up the time running the alerts, all good things within the alert builder. We also wanted to point out we've added a couple of comparators that you can use. We've added the contains and does not contain comparators. So if you would like to build an alert, for an example, street contains Graymont, you can build that very simply using those comparators in the alert builder. Over the next months, we will be updating alerts that we have built that are available in the Alert Builder community. So you can be on the lookout for those updates. If you've already downloaded and you're using some of those alerts, you'll see the updates available when you are on the Alert Builder page. And we will continue to let you know when we make those updates. But we just wanted to mention that you might start seeing those over the next few months in the Alert Builder. We also want to remind you that these legacy alerts, when you navigate to the Meta Customization Catalog and you're looking at the alerts category, these alerts highlighted in red, these are legacy alerts. They will be removed from the catalog this summer. All of these alerts are now available in the community. You can navigate to the Alert Builder community, download the alert, make any changes that you would like, and then push them to the portals that you would like to use them in. Once you do that, you navigate back to the catalog and you disable the legacy alert. Again, instructions on how to do that are in this PowerPoint. Additionally, when you navigate to the catalog and you click on any of these alerts, you'll see the instructions on how to go to community to download the new alerts for use. We do have a couple new alerts that we have built and added to the Alert Builder community. One of them is familiar, and most districts are using it, Contacts at a Glance alert. It is one of those legacy alerts. This was the last legacy alert that we had to add to the Alert Builder community. It is now available, as well as a REMP alert, and this is for our Ohio districts, all of you. The REMP alert, what it does, it's adding a book icon to the student line, as all alerts do. When you click on the alert, the pop-up, you're going to see details on a student's current year REMP enrollment. So this alert and the pop-up, they are displaying current year REMP data. The newly added PSSR, the state REMP codes that are on a student's state FN page, those show all REMPs, past year and current year. This alert in the Alert Builder is only showing current year REMP information. So again, it's only going to display the icon, and the pop-up will only display the data for this year's REMP enrollment, this current year. And Contacts at a Glance, again, many of you are already using this customization. It adds the people icon. Clicking on it while you are on any student page, it offers you quick access to the student's contacts as needed. Okay, we have added staff info card. This customization, it works exactly like the student info card. So it will display staff information in a pop-up while you are on any staff page. You'll see that silhouette person on your blue navigation bar. Clicking on it, again, you can easily access staff information while you are on staff pages. There is, within the navigation link through people, staff, you will now see a staff info settings link where you can access the setup page. This is, again, very similar to your student info settings. You can load the default values that we have created here to be displayed on your staff info card. You can change them as needed. And again, this is for your staff pages. If you already are using student information card, then this is already enabled. staff, and student info card are in the same customization. So if you are using one, you are now using both. And we have some new customizations: daily meeting attendance custody column. It's a mouthful. This customization allows users to view custody information on those daily and meeting attendance pages. So if you're wanting to use this, once you enable it in the catalog, as you visit the daily and meeting attendance page and you click on the phone number listed, the home phone for the student listed, in the pop-up, you'll see information, the custody column. This is what is newly added. This will display here on the right-hand side. It will also show those green custody flags indicating those contacts that have custody. This does work again on both the daily and meeting pages. Those are while you are at the building level. You can use those pages and see that custody column if you would like. We've also added home language to the student demographics page. Again, this is an Ohio only field. With home language on the demographics page, once you enable it, the customization in the catalog, you will see home language now displayed on the student's demographics page. This is a read-only field. So you can see you cannot click on it or select a drop-down or change any of the information. This is purely read-only. It's pulling the home language from the state pages. So this, again, is just a view only of the home language. Builder. We have a report that we have built in the report builder. It's called Student Course Request Report. And you can see here, this report will show a student's course request for the next school year. So student course request for the 25-26 year. It's going to give the student name, their counselor, and then it's going to list out all of the course requests that the student has made. There's some additional information at the bottom. This is, again, something that we built within the report builder. If you would like to have a similar report in your district, please submit a ticket to us and we will import this report into your district so that your usually schedulers have been talking about this. So your schedulers may be wanting to see something similar to this for their students with student course requests. There's an important note with this report. If you want this report and you begin using this report, you do have to be in the building to run the report. So it is going to be showing the building, the course requests. We also wanted to make an update about the test results builder and loader. We've had 3 beta calls with our volunteer districts. They have gone very well. We've gotten great feedback. We've worked through some updates in the process of meeting with them. We're very appreciative of all of their insight and help as we work through this process. We are going to continue with those meetings. Currently, we're meeting on a bi-weekly basis, and we plan to continue to do so with them. Again, their feedback is valuable to us as we work through some different things with the report loader and builder. At this point in the process, in the test loader process, we are able to load the following tests for our districts. You can submit a ticket to us if you would like to have us at Meta load your ACT, SAT, and or PSAT data for this year or past years. So you would submit a ticket to us, you would attach those raw data files to your ticket, and we will begin that process of loading them for your district. We want to let you know coming in May, our plans are to have some additional tests made available for you to submit for loading. So again, we're appreciative of our volunteer districts continuing to meet with us and work through the test loader and builder. We wanted to mention Senate Bill 234. We've heard from a few districts regarding this Senate bill, so we wanted to provide just some information that we have regarding it. Within this presentation, there's a link to the ODE, the Senate bill, the information regarding this. And there is, again, you can access that link to see the verbiage on the adding the suicide hotline to the student portal. So talking about the crisis lifeline 988, as mentioned in this bill, needing to be added to student portals. Again, this is from the state. Also, within this presentation, you can click on the link to view the Senate bill. You can also click a link to PowerSchool Ideas portal. So when this Senate Bill 234, when we were discussing this with some of our districts that brought it to our attention, we submitted an inquiry to PowerSchool, and PowerSchool advised us to submit an idea to the state compliance ideas portal, which we have done. This link here will take you to the specific ideas that we have submitted through the ideas portal. When you click on the link, again, it'll take you to that specific idea. There is a place where you can thumbs up, vote it up. So we are asking if you can take a look at this information and if you can vote up the ideas portal. Again, we brought it to PowerSchool's attention to kind of include that with some of the state compliance information. And this is what they've directed us to do. In the meantime, we have kind of a workaround if you would like to use, and that is through the customized sign-in screen message. You can create a custom sign-in message. Again, this is on the customized sign-in screen message. You can create that message with the appropriate language that you need to use to be displayed for the student portal.
And PowerSchool is aware of our deadline date. I updated it yesterday and asked them where we were, but I have not heard anything back.
And I believe that date is coming up in just
April 9th.
few weeks. Yeah.
It's April 9th.
Perfect. All right, community plugins. So this is a friendly reminder to visit the community plugins page. Again, that's through your system management, customizations, community plugins. You will want to come to this page, check to see if you have any external plugins and they have updates available. We mentioned this because there is a plugin that a few of our districts are utilizing that has an update available now. This is pretty recent, and that is called the Power Teacher Student Directory plugin. Again, this is not a Meta plugin, but we know that a few of our districts, quite a few of our districts are using this plugin. So we wanted to bring it to your attention that there is an update available, that you will want to navigate to community plugins to download that new file update and update through plugin configuration. This plugin, what it does, it's adding a student directory link to the teacher portal. So you can see on the left-hand side in the teacher portal, that student directory link. On the row with the student name, there are some links listed here that show pop-ups for demographics, year list schedule, weekly bell schedule, find me. And then finally, there's this optional medical alert. There was an issue with the medical alert where it was not displaying for all students, which medical alerts are very important and could cause some issues if your teachers and or subs don't have the correct information when they're accessing the student directory. So you want to, again, make sure you have that update, that you update that plugin. Once you update the plugin, you'll want to navigate within your admin portal to the student directory preferences page to ensure your settings are as you need them to be. Again, with this medical alert, it is an optional setting. So if you are using it, You may or may not have noticed that it was not correctly displaying for all of your students. So you want to first update the plugin, and then you want to check your preferences page to make sure your settings, again, are as you need them to be. And finally, as always, if you have any questions, please email us, let us know. And a copy of this presentation's in our documentation repository, and the recording will be posted today. Thanks.
So Sally, we did have Corey put a note in chat for the archive student.
Yes.
And he said that for the archive student customization, the newly added student status option will only appear if the student status customization is enabled.
Perfect. So navigate to the catalog to enable that. And go ahead.
And then we had one more, so I'm sorry if you're not done.
No, I was just going to say, go to the catalog. If you maybe were not able to attend the meeting from the last district leader meeting, navigate to your catalog, look at the latest customizations. All of our new ones are there available for you to take a look at with descriptions, screenshots, and the ability to enable them to start using them.
And then Rich had asked the question about sometimes there's an update listed in community, but when you go to PowerSchool, that's not available yet. It's still the same version as what we have. We did address that last time as well.
So with that, what happens sometimes with those plugins that show an update available, sometimes the developer, the publisher of the plugin, they have downloaded that plugin and they are making edits to it. They are changing some things around or adding some things to that plugin. The API, as it's scanning those plugins, it is seeing that number and thinking that there is an update available. We have on the list to be coming out soon, where we will be able to run through and detect when there are 2 plugins running the latest version update, then it will be displayed in community plugins as a true update available. Again, sometimes it's either the developer that is working on that plugin that has created a new version number from 4.2 to 4.3, or on the other rare instance, there is someone else who's created a plugin with the same name, same version. That's a rarity, but could happen. So again, we are looking for adding very soon 2 community plugins, the ability to scan those version updates, and when it detects 2 or more, that is when it will flag to be displayed in community plugins as a true update. When you see those that are listed and you click to go to the Exchange and it's not a version update, you can always skip that version within communities. It'll move it from your updates tab to the skipped tab. But good question.
Okay, I think that's all we had in chat.
Fantastic update. Thank you very much, as usual, Sally and Sarah. I just want to make a quick, it's kind of an opportunity to make a quick mention. It's not just Sally and Sarah on the front end of this. They get the opportunity to present the result of what happens with all the development staff that we have. We do have four full-time development staff. Ed Kubiak, Trevor Paulsich, Corey Hilliard, and Zach Chapman. And these guys do absolutely amazing work. Obviously, the customization catalog is one of those that, is a bit more of Corey's kind of third arm, if you will. But, to a certain degree, these guys are all involved.
And Helen. Helen's been developing.
And Helen.
Too. Yeah.
Yes, and Helen. So,
Corey's the man behind the curtain.
So, Eric, we do have another customization question that just popped up. So if we could go back to that, Marnie has a report card question. So Marnie, you can unmute and ask your question. Or
Oh,
type it in.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I was typing my question as you or like finishing as you were transitioning back to Eric. I think last fall we had asked on the report card if we could have not only the credit listed, but the term listed so that when someone is looking at the report card, they would know if it's a quarter class, a semester class, a year-long class, or a trimester class, because unfortunately our district has all of those options at any given time. When Sally was going through the discussion about the report card customizations, and there was a thing that where you can, it says terms, you can use the final grade setting to hide or show course terms. Will that something there enable that so that our report card will show the reader what the term is for that class? Or am I thinking differently?
Let me
We-
share my, go ahead, Sarah. I
No,
was
no,
just
no,
sharing
go
my
ahead.
screen. I was going to share my screen here for the terms here, just pulling it up. So within the final final term report set or grading setup, back, final grade and reporting term page. When you're accessing this page through the report card settings, you can select on various terms to be removed from the report card within the course's container. So for example, with at Apple Grove High School, I've excluded from the meta report card quarter one. When I check mark this box and I click submit and I look at a student's report card, you'll see quarter one is no longer being displayed. It's removing it from the course's container.
Okay, I think and maybe I'm confusing the way I'm asking the question. I guess we were just like, when you're looking at the report card there's a column for absences, tardies, potential earned. We were asking if there would be a column that says term.
So I think you're talking about like the course section, the course name. Is it a year long or is it a quarter or a semester
Because
class?
we have, like I said, at any given point in time, students can be taking a quarter class, a semester class, a year-long class, a trimester class. Our athletic director, when he is looking at report cards in terms of eligibility, it's helpful for him to see if a student has completed a class or if it's midway through. It's just all part of his, how he analyzes this so he can determine eligibility.
Yeah, it's like like you see on the list schedule. Is it a year-long class? Is it the semester? I see what you're saying.
And I think we have a task already to add a column, like where you see the course number. So beside the course name, it would say semester one, quarter one, quarter
24, 25.
four.
Yeah.
But it would be beside each course. It wouldn't be up where the
Okay, I just, when I saw that in her PowerPoint about terms and showing the term on the report card, I got a little excited. And I understand what it does, but it's
Hercules.
no, it's not solving the issue. But thank you for clarifying.
So Marnie, are you saying though, if we put the term beside like consumer math and say that's semester one or
No,
that's
I think what was on the report card that we used previously, it would let the reader know that consumer math is a year-long class, as opposed to chamber singers is only a semester class.
okay. So doing that would solve that issue for you.
Yeah.
Which is what I think our task says already.
Right. Okay. That's okay. I know you have a lot of requests and it just, I got, like I said, I got a little excited and I wanted to clarify before.
You'll have to contain that excitement for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, we do have a long list that,
I know. Thank you. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'll unmute or mute back again.
Thanks, Marnie.
Thanks, Marnie. All right.
think I am
Anything
up.
else? You are.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yep.
I just had a couple quick updates to the summer EBT and roster verification. For SEBT, the reminder that the data submissions will run from March 24th to April 30th, and please correct me, Emus, but I think those are the correct dates, updated dates. So the new thing this year is a new enrollment file that Meta will be providing all districts the needed data for via the Jitterbit process with the Management Council, much like we do with roster verification. So if you're planning on using the SEBT helper and submission reports and are new to this and haven't done so, you will first need to enable the provided plugin on the plugin configuration screen before you can see the report links. And the steps to do so are provided in the document titled SEBT Helper and Submission Files, which is included in the documents that your EMIS coordinator should have received during their training session. And I will provide copies in the district leader meeting folder. And once this plugin is enabled, you can navigate to your EMIS reports, data reporting, meta reports, and you'll see the two SEBT helper and submission links. Also, as a reminder, there will be an SEBT webinar on March 18th. So if you plan to attend, make sure you are signed up for that using that link on this screen. And that's all the updates I had on SEBT. Are there any questions before moving forward? Nope. Okay, moving on to roster verification. And first of all, I want to thank all the districts for working with Lindsay, Kelly, myself to get all your data cleaned and processed. I know there's a lot of back and forth that takes place, and there's some confusion about your numbers, but we muscled through it okay. And of course, I'd be remiss to not mention Zach Chapman's work through his script that grabs all the files, so kudos to him. Where we stand now, all districts' RV data has been validated and most has been submitted for processing. We're still working with Ohio K-12 support to get some of your questions answered about your roster numbers. So please be patient with us. And as a heads up, the Management Council informed us that they're going to push all districts' data through regardless by the end of the day this Friday, which is tomorrow, in preparation for the next phase. So where do we stand? And as you can see from this timeline, the data loading has been ongoing and will be wrapped up tomorrow. Beginning Tuesday, the 18th, your RV coordinators and building principals will be able to log into the link application with the URL above and begin cleaning up their specific building data. So make sure they look out for an email from MCOECN if they haven't already received one. And as always, if there are questions, please utilize the Roster V support link on this same page. That's all I had. Does anybody have any questions relating to SEBT or roster verification?
I do. This is Denise from Kettering. I just wondered if you know if the March 18th webinar for SEBT is pretty much the same as the one that was in February, or is it new or different information?
Denise,
would-
my understanding,
yeah.
my
Go ahead, Ed.
understanding is that that webinar was going to be geared slightly more toward districts. But yeah, I don't think the information overall is going to be really all that different.
Okay, thank you. I'm just out that day. And
Sorry,
I don't
it's not that.
miss it.
Yeah. I know they typically, I think as was the case with the first webinar, they record those. They do make those recordings available. So if it is something you miss, maybe you want to go ahead and register for it. That way, when they do make that recording available, you'll get notification of the available recording.
Thank you. That's a good idea. I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to reiterate on the SEBT, again, if you've been through this process in the past and what Steve was showing with the helper and the submission file, that process is not really changing for you guys, even though they're adding an additional file for the enrollment piece of this. We will behind the scenes take care of transmitting that enrollment information that's needed directly through, as Steve was saying, the Jitterbit process that we have directly with Management Council. So that data will get loaded on your behalf through us. So your process is exactly the same this year. Okay.
That's very helpful. Thank you. I didn't realize you guys were doing that all enrollments file.
Yeah. Yeah. We try to make this as easy on you guys as possible. So
And we appreciate
you're welcome. Steve, nice update. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think we are rounding third and heading home. I think our last update is from the Power Scheduler team.
Yep, we do have a few updates. Let me get my share here. Here we go. Okay, can you all see my screen now?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we are pretty much in the heart of Power Scheduler season right now. So we do have some updates and reminders and some ways to check in with your Power Schedulers. So we do have our work days that are scheduled every Tuesday and Wednesday. Our Tuesday virtual work days are basically one-on-one hour sessions with our schedulers. Many of our schedulers just pop in and ask for, some advice, a few questions, and then may just hang out in the breakout room for us to help them for that 1 hour, which has been working out great. On Wednesdays, we do have our in-person sessions in Columbus and in Marion, and we have one left in Strongsville to do. Those are on our Eventbrite calendar, and so you can, encourage your schedulers to go out and, have those in-person sessions if they're more comfortable with that with us, or if they can't get out of the office, those virtual sessions have been very useful for many of our districts. We do want you with your schedulers. Most of our buildings do have a scenario and are working hard in the scheduler. We do have some buildings that have not started yet, so they are a little bit behind, but again, in those workday sessions, we should be able to get them right back on track and work with them on doing so. So again, check in with them, ask them where they are at in their scheduling process. Lots of our schedulers are entering requests. Some are done with requests and are getting ready to load students. So again, we're just moving right along. And again, most of our districts are, on task. They're all set up to go. But there are just a few that are falling behind a little bit. So do check in with your schedulers. Our final day in Power Scheduler is Friday, June 13th. It is during the end of year commit process. We take all of the information that the schedulers have entered into the system in Power Scheduler and bring all of that information to the live site. So we wouldn't want anyone working in the scheduler after June 13th. This means they'd be working on a scenario that really no longer exists within Power Scheduler. So that's why we definitely stress that final day to our schedulers is June 13th. One other mention that we don't have here is a visual, but we do have the Basecamp checklists out there for our schedulers and for district leaders to be able to go and access where the schedulers are without, they have this checklist. If they're using it, it's an easy access to see kind of where they are in their process. So Margie or Stephen, did you want to add anything about Basecamp in there? I don't know.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
should
do,
have gotten an email. Okay.
as far as the Basecamp, yes, everyone should have received that. If you have not, ask your people doing the scheduling. If you're not, as district leaders, it would be very helpful to us when they come into their meetings, either in person or online, that we know right where they're at instead of going through every single page to check to see where you are. If you have questions about that, please just simply put in a ticket to ps.scheduling.support@metasolutions. I'm probably the one that's going to pick that up, and I do not mind reaching out to you in that ticket to see if we can get you updated.
Okay, thank you, Margie. Okay, so with that being said, we do have a few of the Power Scheduler updates. We are getting ready to have live side training. So anyone that isn't using Power Scheduler, we will have those live side trainings coming up. Our first one is May 1st. It is in person in Columbus. And then we do have 2 other virtual sessions. May 15th, we have a morning session. May 19th, we have an afternoon session. So hopefully your schedulers for the live side scheduling will be able to attend one of those sessions. If not, we will have those virtual sessions put on our website for them to view on YouTube. We do ask as a district leader that you go in and double check those term dates. We know that many of you get an approved calendar in March. So if you could go in and just check those dates, those year-long dates, term dates, to just make sure those are correct, that would be great. Those live site schedulers need to have their updated term dates after their copy. So we'll be going over that in those live site trainings. Some of the Power schedulers that are in the scheduler have used fake dates, dates that maybe are close to the beginning and ending date of the school year, just to get their information started and get ready and be working in the Power scheduler. But those dates will need to be accurate for the load. So again, we will have those live site trainings coming up. All of those are available to sign up now. We don't limit that sign up date for those. Those are available to sign up now. There will be no more Power scheduler trainings. Just those work days will be available. So there's no more actual group trainings, either virtually or in person, just the work days that we'll still continue to work with our schedulers on. Excuse me. So I have to mention this. Sally kind of stole my thunder on the great new custom report available, but that's okay. But this report has been awesome. Our schedulers have been asking for a report like this for some time. Again, what Sally said, it pulls all the student requests that have been entered either by your counselor or by the student and parent, depending on how your district does requests. This list then can be printed, hand it to the student or parent or whoever's needing that. So we love this report. I did include here how to run the report for an individual student. So you would go to the student selection, more custom reports, and the student course request. I also included how you run the report for a select group of students. So many of you are just, maybe if you wanted to run just a certain age or a certain class. So if you want to run the sophomores, you can just select that group of students, go to data and reporting, the meta report builder, meta reports landing page, and then that course report. It's a little bit different on navigation to if you want to run an individual student or if you want to run a select group of students. Again, I think Sally mentioned this, that you need to be in the school environment to be able to run that report. The best thing that we think about this report is that the report is customizable. So if you see, you can include a student number, you can include a counselor name, If you're using Teams within scheduling, you can put Teams on there as well. You can also customize the message at the bottom. So you can just put a general message out to students or parents, or maybe some contact information if maybe the requests look inaccurate. So we love that about this report, and we appreciate that getting them, that everybody that worked hard on getting that to work. So as always, please reach out to us. If you have any questions, you can submit a scheduling question to ps.scheduling.support at metasolutions.net. And I did put that contact information for the custom report. Again, if you email us or submit a case to us about the custom report, we'll make sure that it gets where it needs to go. So that's all I really have for scheduling, but we do, your schedulers are working hard, and we do appreciate everything.
Any questions for Kim or the rest of the scheduling team? All right, fantastic update, Kim. Thank you. I do want to, again, just an opportunity to recognize, we've added Margie Lee from Zanesville to the Power Scheduler team. Stephen Parpar is part of the team. Kim Anderson is obviously part of the team. And we are looking to try to fill out that team by adding a 4th full-time person. The hope is, or the plan is, we will do that probably heading into the summer. And that way, going into next year's Power Scheduler season, we'll have 4 full-time staff back on that team. Again, I appreciate all that you guys do. I know it's super busy. This is just a crazy time of the year from now until the end of the school year. You guys are pushing hard every day, every week. So I appreciate it. All right. The only other, again, general reminder, we have our last district leader meeting of the year coming up May 8th. That one will be in person. I will probably in the next week get the invite sent out. Again, it's in person, but if you want to join via webinar, that is an option as well. So I need to get the registration link out there and created so that folks can register. That way we have a lunch count. Again, we kind of approach that last DL meeting of the year as a customer appreciation. We'd love to have more of you in person than have joining. I mean, it's once a year. So we did reserve the facility over across the street from the Meta Columbus office, so the ESC, to give us more space, to spread out, to have that opportunity. So please consider joining us in person for that last DL meeting. We'd really appreciate it. We like seeing your faces in person rather than just always online. So, all right. Believe it or not, I think we got you out of here a few minutes early. So again, unless there's other questions for us, appreciate your time.